Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is episode 19 of our Factorio 0.17 tutorial walkthrough Let's Play. In the last episode, we set up our trains and iron ore delivery. We have our offloading station here, being fed currently from a train, and we have an unloading station, where is it? Over here, quite far away. Now, the quite far away means that it takes quite a while for the train to get from one place to the other, which limits our maximum throughput. So we would like to add some more trains. Well, let's do that. We have some waiting bays here, which is what we need on this side, and we have at least one waiting bay here. Remember, we need one waiting bay per train after the first, because if we have two trains, then one will go into the station, and a second one can wait in a waiting bay, and then we need a third bay to use as a bypass so that another train can come through. So we have enough here, and we can see that the train is gone. Now these are running low, but we're also not using them up very quickly. Let's see what our science is. Let's grab, energy shield equipment next. We don't really have anything else to do right now with that. So let's build another train. We tried to do that in the last episode and failed because we managed to run them into each other. And looking over the footage, I think it was because we placed some of the signals. It was because we placed the train after the other train was already in. Okay. And I am back here, so let's place the rest of our train. Now, since the first train is here, we can do shift right click, shift left click to get the schedule in, and we can also do shift right click on the wagons and do shift left click, shift left click, shift left click to make sure our filter is set. Now, I want to get over to the other side of the station, so I'm just going to manually send this to iron ore out. And off it goes. While we're coming through here, it wouldn't be bad to... Let's flip that to manual. Let's place a couple more radars. We are blocking the train, but that's why we have those signals there. You can see that this train is waiting for it. So I don't want to take too long. I'm just gonna run this over here and place at least one radar, just to get some coverage in place. Can I place it all the way over here? No, that'll leave a gap. I can place it over here. Over here. Yeah, let's place it over here. Power pole, and that'll at least cover that corner. Now, as I was running, I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed something interesting, and that's that we're missing a signal. If we pick up the signals here, you can see that there's supposed to be a signal right there, a pair of them, one on each side. They're there in ghost view, but because they're not, this whole area is one big block, and that's why that train stopped back there. If we place this where it belongs, now this train can get closer. So let's hop in and resume. And while that's happening, we can start refined flammables researching. And as soon as we move past the next signal, this train can come in. And that's the idea. That's why we want those signals on the straightaways, those regular signals, because it allows the trains to kind of both keep moving. Now we're going to go into this station, and it's going to start loading. I'm going to hop out, and that train will wait patiently in the waiting bay. Now the reason I am here is because I want to complete the mining. So let's do that. Nope. And I think I'm going to pause long enough to do this off camera, because there's really no reason for you to watch me do this, but I do want to get this done at this point, and I did not have a chance between it. Okay, I'm not going to fill out the entire thing this moment. I will do so between episodes, but I did complete a couple of columns so we get some more ore coming in. Again, we've got plenty here. If you look at these lines don't look full, but if we look at the 4 lines over here, they're completely saturated. So building any more miners at this point is kind of a waste of time. Oh, yeah. And now we see why we need to watch out for train. I just got killed. Now, normally I would just load a save, quite honestly, but it's been a little bit since I saved. I just built all those miners. And we're not really in a bad place. If we died from from biters, we would need to try to recover our body from biters. Here, this isn't terrible. So, we've respawned, and the big thing about respawning is we've got no stuff. No stuff. So, if we were died from biters and our body was in the middle of a biter nest, that would be very rough. But in this case, our body is over by the mining, and it's not a big deal to go get it. So let's wait here for a train. We can start the next research, follow a robot count, and here comes the next train. Yay! Now, since I don't want to wait too long, I'm going to jump on this train, and I'm going to manually send it back to the iron ore. It's not empty, but that's okay. We're really not using ore that quickly, so the loss of a little bit of time on delivering this load doesn't matter too much. We will ride this around, and we will go get our body. At least the train is pretty quick. Certainly quicker than the car, let alone running. Alright, we're waiting there. Let's carefully cross the tracks. Oh, we're going to wait for this train to come around because we don't want to get killed a second time. And this train is not going to stay there long because it's going to wait until it's loaded, which will only take a moment. There we go. Now with the train out of the way, we can come over here and pick up our body and everything that was in it. We did not want to destroy the track, but that's okay. This also means we need to rearrange our weapons here. I want the submachine gun, I want the good ammo, and this stuff I don't want at all, so we will dump it once we get back to our base. Alright, so we've got plenty of iron ore coming in. We don't have a good quick ride back out of here. Oh, hey look. We're getting attacked by biters, but our guns are holding them off. There's no damage to the wall, so our wall is secure for the moment. Do we have a train coming in anytime soon? This train is not even half emptied, so I'm going to send it again manually over here, just for the sake of catching a ride back. Let's take a look at research again. We've got another follower robot count. And follower robot count applies to those combat robots we saw before. Again, as I said before, I don't really use them. We'll probably build some at some point just to see what they're like. But the robots that we can build right now, or these defender capsules, they're really not very good. So I'm just not even going to waste time building them. Once we get the better ones, we'll probably build some just for the sake of showing you how they work. Right, where's our train? Ah, I just missed it. Oh no, I didn't miss it, it's right there. Let's quickly hop on and send it back to base. One of the things I will frequently do a little bit later in a playthrough like this is I will just make a separate train with separate stops that is dedicated for my use as passenger train and as well as a building train for supplies, but we're not quite there yet. So what are we going to do today? Well, today we want to work on the next major technological step. A game of Factorio tends to bounce back and forth between fixing bottlenecks and updating your technology. The last couple of episodes we spent on fixing a major bottleneck, that is to say our iron production. So let's work a little bit on our next technology step. What we want to do is get the next science, the chemical science pack, the blue science. If we look at the recipe here, we can see that it requires 3 ingredients. Well, the bottom one, engine unit, is not a problem. We've made those before. But sulfur and advanced circuits are a problem. Sulfur requires petroleum gas, and advanced circuits, the red ones, require plastic. Both of these are products that are made from oil, which is not something that we have. So we've got to go build it. Now, oil comes from oil wells, which we have in abundance right here, and we can get oil there and bring it in somewhere. And we also need to build a oil processing facility. Now, there's lots of ways to do things. Some people build the processing facility right next to the oil wells. Some people build it somewhere off entirely and do everything by train. The problem is the oil processing facility is going to generate a bunch of different products that some of which we don't need. They're intermediary products inside the facility, but some of them are things we're going to want. So we want to put it somewhere not too far from our base. So we need to place our oil facility somewhere convenient. Now, we're bringing in things by train here, so I am thinking we will put our oil processing over here on the other side of this train tracks, and then the items we need on the belt will be belted or we will use piping for the liquids. And that's it. There's literally nothing else we can research until we have blue science. So, science is shut down. Let's go get a few extra pieces from the mall that we will need for this next phase, and let's get started on oil. Here we are. Let's dump some of this stuff because we have way too much stuff that we do not need right now. Now, I'd like to put about half of these belts back, but while I can move them one at a time, I can't control click them because it won't let me put it in the red. If I turn off this limit, then we will immediately start building more. Well, I don't want to do that either. So what I'm going to do for the moment, there are other ways to deal with this, is I'm going to mouse over this inserter and hit R to rotate it out of position. Now I can turn off the filter, shove half the the belts in here, and then re-enable the filter. And now I can hit Shift R and turn this back, or I could have hit R a couple times to turn it around. Let's get some undergrounds because we do want those. We do not want these wooden power poles. We don't need all of these miners, so we're going to do the same trick with the miners. We're going to in fact put all of them back. Let's see, we can shove those in there. We can shove this, let's say, in here. Let's grab some wire, because I do like having wire on hand. We do need train tracks, because we're going to bus our we're going to use the train to bring in oil. We are going to... we have not built this section out yet. So we need to build these parts of the mall. Let's do that right now. So we're going to need pumps. And pumps are built right here. They're going to need these gears. They're going to need this here. And we're going to need engine units. Where are we making engine units? Right here, which means we need this long reach inserter. We're also going to need oil refineries. That oil refining is the first stage of processing petroleum. That's gonna grab us our bricks. Okay, we've got that going. We are definitely gonna need both oil tanks or liquid tanks and liquid wagons. Okay, that's getting everything. That's not yet up. We need that one. Okay. And up here, we're going to need pump jacks and chemical processing plants. We're getting everything we need here. Good. Hey, look, we've built out pretty much everything on the left that we could. This is something we definitely need. We need underground pipe. Now here we're doing a kind of tricky thing. So one of the ingredients of underground pipe is straight pipe. And we've got our straight pipe makers down here producing our pipes for us. Which means this is where we get underground pipes. But we also want straight pipes. So we're going to put this block here, and we're going to use a filter inserter to put some pipe into this chest. We need to use a filter inserter because we don't want to put the iron gears that are also on this belt into the chest as well. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit because we need to build some of this up. Oh, we're short on iron again. Look at that. We're not getting a whole lot of iron. What is going on? Well, what's going on is that we may have brought in several lanes of iron, but we're only smelting one. Which means what we really need to do is, while this is building, is expand our smelting operation. Up here we should have plenty of stone smelters, so let's go upgrade that. Now, this is another one of those things where we've been doing things in a somewhat messy way, so now we're going to clean them up. And what I mean by that is we are placing these smelters, and I would like to reorder them a little bit. More specifically, I want all of our iron smelters to be next to each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the input to this copper and let that run for a bit. While that's happening, I'm going to grab our blueprint for our smelting array, and I'm going to paste one here as a placeholder, and I'm going to paste another one here and another one there. So we are not going to build this one right now because of the cliffs, which we can't really do anything about. So we're going to build the next one. So grenade our blueprints, always handy because blueprints don't care about being grenaded. So we need to bring in our coal, and because of this cliff, we're gonna have to do that, which is fine. And before we were building half arrays and such, we don't really need to do that at this point. We're just going to build the whole array all in one go. Let's see. Power poles. We don't need to build nearly as many, so we can get rid of these. I cannot, unfortunately, cover everything with one, so we will eliminate this row and leave the other rows in place. So we can do that, since we're using our medium power poles. And while we're not building out this array, we do want to at least hook up the power poles so that we can get power, because we're basically using these arrays as our power buses in a way. So, that get us power over here? Yes. And we're gonna just use yellow inserters, because we just don't need the speed of blue ones on this. And of course I did not grab any because I've not been stocking them of late. So let's go grab a few. That's not going to be enough, but that's okay. It'll make more. So my intention for this episode was to start on oil. I'm getting the feeling that we're going to be spending most of it rearranging smelting. So be it. That's the way it works. And once again, this is the boring part of Factorio, in my opinion. Specifically, building placing the inserters. And in the future, I will do this off camera. But we really need to give them all some time to run to produce all of our chemical plant materials, so we'll just let it go for the moment. Alright, let's reroute our copper here. Let's see, can we do the jump here with yellows? No. Fortunately, we have some reds. Let's actually do it right here. And this will bring in our copper into here. We can delete all of these old copper lines, which will fill our inventory with copper ore, but that's okay. We can deal with it. Okay. Is copper getting into here? No, because we have this reversed. Okay, let's make sure everything is going in and it's smelting. And it is. So let's dump all of this ore. Now, have we drained this out? Almost. One thing we want to do is make sure, I kind of am walking down and dragging the mouse, is I want to make sure there's no copper ore at all left in any of these smelters, and there's not. It looks like one side is backed up more than the other, which means we need a balancer here. there, though. There. There we go. This will let us drain out the very last of the copper in here. We can see there's still a little bit left in these last inserters on the left. Let's get all of it out. In fact, let's build... Balancers are a good idea in general. So we're gonna... This is gonna come in right here. Right here. Alright. Almost done. Last bits. Out. Perfect. We have now gotten rid of all of this copper. So we can bring in iron. Let's let that drain down there, and let's look at how to bring in iron. Well, we have up here, let's see, while we're here we can get rid of this old line that we don't need. I tend to do these cleanups kind of as I'm walking through the area because I don't like doing them, and this way I do them in little bits. You can also do them all at once, so whatever you prefer. And we're also running low on coal. I think we're going to need to upgrade our coal very soon, but we're good for the moment. Alright, well, we have all this happening here. We have extra lines coming up over here. So let us drag along one more line. This is really messy, but that's alright. It'll get better. So if we can bring this into here, and this into here, and then this can become a new line of iron ore coming down. Now, is this line of power poles still doing anything? No. We've got power on this side, we've got power on that side. Let's kill them. They're just in our way. Oh, that one was important, though. No. Let's see. Kill this, this, and this. Nope, 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 nope. We needed one there. Alright. Little bits of cleanup. Alright, and we will take our turn off right here. And now we've got a second smelter of steel, of iron, working over here. Let's see, this is just about all drained, not quite. Come on. Alright, we're gonna delete this like so. Alright, this is now an iron line. I do not like how I built this one. This is just pure aesthetics. I feel I should have gone this way. That way it's in line. And where are we going to feed this? Well, this one is coming into both green circuits and iron gears and the bus. So let's relieve the bus of part of this. Let's take away this right here. Like that. Nope. And feed that into here. And there. So now this smelter, half of it is going to iron gears, the other half is going down this way to green circuits, and this smelting column is going entirely to our bus. So instead of getting like a quarter of a belt, the bus is now going to get a full belt. And by bus, in this case, we mostly mean the mall, since that's our main consumer of iron at the moment. Alright, I'm seeing this iron is built up, and that probably means we've built what we needed to build here. Let's see. Just want to clean up this my inventory a little bit. Does this use brick? Yes. And does anything use stone? Yes. Alright. So, the first thing we're going to do is grab a bunch of pump jacks, a stack of storage tanks, a stack of fluid wagons, a stack of pumps, and plenty of this stuff. In fact, let's open this up a bit because we're going to need eventually a lot of pipes. Alright. And we have train stations, we have signals, we have... we could use one more locomotive. Alright, let's head over this way. Okay, so since we're gonna bring in oil by train, it behooves us to start building some rails. Which means we need to clear a path through this forest. Fortunately, we have grenades. Unfortunately, we have some cliffs here. So we'll need to deal with that. More cliffs, yikes, this is very unpleasant. Let's see, how do we want to bring this in? We want our station somewhere up here, and we'd like to go through here, but we've got these cliffs, and so I think the easiest thing to do is going to be to kind of jig around these cliffs to this side. Let's see if we can make that work. Let's see, where's our blueprints? Here's a straightaway. So suppose we want to place our straightaway here. Can we connect these? Let's take a look. I'm going to hit Shift to go into the planner mode. I'm going to hit R to rotate. And there we go. So just like that, it will connect, and we can place these to tie this together. So let's actually build that. Okay. Now we have this here. We need this one here. And is that long enough for our train? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite. So we're gonna shift this up just enough to generate one more train. And we'll place this across from it. And that's not gonna be a problem because we have enough space to the next one. It's slightly out of alignment, but that's okay. I still haven't gotten lights. Now, how are we doing up here? Oh, let's see. Okay, are we level with where we want to be? I think we're gonna do one more length of straight track. That makes sense. Yeah, we're not gonna go all the way to the end of that track, but we'll work off this. Well, of course, then I laid it all the way across. If we want our train station to be here, I think we want the rail line about here. Let's mark on the map where that is. I want it to be about there. Well, alright. So just past this and remember, right-click, holding and kind of dragging it like that erases blueprints. Now, we're going to put a T-intersection here. And I want it to fit below this, well, below this, so about there. So I'm going to click it like that, purposefully out of alignment, because I want to make sure I know what I need to destroy. Now, I can hit Control-Z a bunch of times, which will recreate these blueprints and then take this away, but blueprints are easy to clear. So let's run this down. Okay, let's place our T here. How's our spacing on these guys? We missed these signals. And do we have enough space there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite. So we're going to need to reposition these as well. Let's... easiest way to do it is to use that one as a guide. So we will... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not what we want. There we have 3, 4, 5, 6. So check again. 3, 4, 5, 6. So right there. And if we place the matching one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. That'll work. Are we missing any signals? We are. So whether it works or not, we're about to find out. No. Alright. Because we've shortened on both sides, we don't quite have enough on either one, so what we're going to do is just kind of place them there. And now, instead of dividing this straight into 3 blocks, we're going to divide it into 2. And each of these blocks is more than long enough. Good enough. Now, I'm going to pause the recording and build out this T and some rail lines, and come back when we're on the other side of it. Okay, so I have completed this section of the road, complete with a detour around some cliffs. Now you may ask why I put a T here instead of a curve, and the answer is because we might want to go to the west someday. There's iron here, there's more oil there. So rather than just doing a curve like here, where we're clearly not going anywhere, and we're clearly not going north, I'm putting in a T in case we want to go west. So, now we need to build our train station. And we're going to build it similar to this design. Wish I'd placed a radar there, but that's okay. So let's make a copy of this section of track. We don't want any of that. Don't need any of that. Perfect. All right. So, as usual, we're going to start with a T. I'm going to use a small T here because I don't want to take up more space than absolutely necessary. I'm going to delete these 2 signals. So, the station's going to go right here. I just want to make sure we're not over this oil patch. Start it here, or we're going to overlap the oil patch. Yes, we are. Well, then we're going to put it below the oil patch. That's not a big deal. This is kind of a long lead into a station, longer than I normally would bother with, but it'll do. So if we place it here, yeah, we'll be well below the... In fact, we're gonna back this up some. We don't want to go that. We're gonna back it up to... Where's our previous signal? Right, to about here. That's better. Okay, so as usual, we're gonna do a hard exit. And one of the things I realized I was doing incorrectly over here, which is why we have this weird curve, is I was placing the first station way too close to our T. So I'm going to place this here as a placeholder. I'm not going to build it out here. I'm going to build it as a placeholder because I want that. Okay, and now I'm gonna do shift deconstruct to get rid of that. Let's bring this down some. And nope, one back. Two back. There. So now we want to bring this down here. Let's see. I'm just going to use this piece of belt as my placeholder, as a marker. Let's shift click that. Okay, so I want to, and this is where we're going to start our station. So this is going to be here. That's our first station location, and as before, we'll aim for a couple of stations, but we've got to build it first. There, that looks much nicer than some of the other stations we built so far. Let's bring power down. And let's get some signals. So this is our in, which means we want a regular signal to fit a train there. And do another one there. And that's about it. And over here we're going to need a chain signal before we enter our merges. And that one is more than big enough to hold our train. And this is going to be our exit, which means we want a... Can we fit two trains into here? I don't know. If we put this here... Does this one hold 6? No. So we cannot do. This will be one exit block. Which means we will need a chain signal. Well, but it's an exit block that's big enough. So we're going to put a rail signal right there because this block can hold a train. Alright, I think that's going to be the end of this episode. In the next episode, we're going to work on building this train station for picking up oil, which means we're going to discuss how to actually do it in a little bit more detail than in the train tutorial, because in that one we did the very basic version, and in this one we're going to add a little bit of circuit conditions and talk a little bit about circuits in order to be able to load and unload as quickly as we possibly can. So it may not feel like it, but we've actually accomplished a good bit in this episode. We put in an entire additional smelting array, which will allow us to smelt much more iron. You can see that now we're saturated with iron much better. We built out our mall. The entire left side of the mall is done. We may need to work on the right side. In fact, I will probably do at least these bits between episodes. We built a second train for our iron production, and as you can see, they're just sitting here now because they're full, and there's very little demand for iron right now, since we're not using it all that much. In fact, where is it going? It is going primarily into steel. Okay, so we are still producing at least some steel, and that's good. So we built a rail line out to our oil field here, And next episode, we're going to work on the oil field itself and the loading station. And then after that, we're going to get to work on the oil processing area. That's a big job in and of itself. So with that, you have enough information to do some of this stuff yourself. So why don't you go ahead and try one of these? And as always, don't forget to save.